suppose.
Yeah, that's what I would do, yeah. So I guess what I'd be looking for then from the joint board would be motion to approve the resolution with the modification or the addition there, and then we can work to get it updated together for signature.
I'll make that motion.
I would just suggest we do go in order of the agenda so that the Dickinson County Board is fully on board with what the process is before the resolution is
Okay.
considered giving us final control on it.
We can do that.
Okay, so what do we want to do first?
So I want to take the resolution and then have discussion, cover those items.
Okay, we have a motion on the resolution.
I'll support it.
Wait, and support, and we've got a motion and support here on the resolution. Is there any more discussion?
I would ask that we cover the two previous items before the vote.
Yeah, I can touch on them anyway. So I'll just real briefly here for both boards. The other two items we have on the agenda are essentially just for the next steps in the project. And again, I won't go too far in depth right now, but we have the final plans and specifications ready for construction of the project. We would just be looking to schedule dates for the bid letting as well as the contract award for the project, and then get approval to proceed with that. And then with that, we would then be publishing the notice to bidders, publishing the plans, and then proceeding towards bidding and construction of the project. So that's, I guess, just an overview of what those other two items are.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, we have a motion, we have support. All in favor?
Roll call.
Aye.
Wait, we better do a roll call. Ed?
Aye.
Jerry?
Aye.
Leroy?
Aye.
Jason?
Aye.
Mike votes aye. Go ahead.
Tim. Aye. Steve. Aye. Bill is aye. Tim. Aye. Jeff. Aye.
So I guess with that, the only other thing I have for JD3 is just I want to go through some of the specifics of the improvement project and then set the dates for the bid letting and all that. With that resolution being approved, Dickinson County, are you comfortable dropping off, or do you want to stay on for that, since that's the only other item I have for the project?
Drop off. Yeah, we. Drop off. Thanks for your work.
Okay, sounds good, thanks.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Now should we drop two, like you said?
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess with that, the other two items I have for you here today should have a memo and a final cost estimate. The memo is the specification summary. Yes, I do. Yep. So what we have is we have the plans and specifications ready to go. We just need to set dates for bidding today, and then once we've done that, we'll go ahead, finalize those, sign them, and then get them on file and get them posted for bidding. So what I'll do here is I'll just briefly talk through some of the high level points of the project, and then we can see if there's any questions and talk about setting the bidding dates and all that. So just some overview things here with bidding, talking with Rochelle and Jordan. I guess Dickinson County dropped off, so specifically here in Osceola County. I tentatively put in dates of a bid letting for November 7th, and then also a bid award a week later. The reason we've started doing that, you could do a bid letting and try and award the same day, but oftentimes if you have a new or different contractor, we need to take some time to review their qualifications before we recommend an award. So it's just easier to plan those on two different dates so we can review the bids and review the contractor and then recommend. So we have there. The drainage code does require publishing a notice to bidders for 2 consecutive weeks, the 25th and November 1st are what I'm recommending in the newspapers there. And I would work with Rochelle to get that notice over. The only other requirements for bidding are the Iowa Code, Chapter 26, public bidding requirements, which We actually cover, because we post the projects on our website, and then we have a plan room that we post to, and we send it out to contractors, so we would cover that side of it. For the bidding, bidding does include bid security, so any contractor that bids has to include a bid security to ensure they enter in the contract. The contract documents include performance and payment bonds for the awarded contractor. Those are effective for a year from when the contract is signed until a year after acceptance. Additionally, with these tile projects, we've included a warranty bond for 2 additional years after that for the tile work. Depending on how bidding and contracting goes, we'd be looking at maybe, best case scenario, you could, if you had a contractor ready to go, you could see some work start late 2023, otherwise it would be 2024 construction. With final completion date we have is November 1 of 2024. And liquidated damages for that. And then obviously we would have monthly progress payments for the completed work plus retainage in there. So that's kind of the overview of the bidding and contract information. Beyond what I covered, kind of all the standard language, a contractor has to have insurance and all of that as well. Any questions on the bidding things? Otherwise, I'll just briefly touch on some of the actual project work that's included in the project.
So on the 7th, does that have to be a board meeting then, or?
Yeah, so the 7th on the bid letting, I asked Brian Young this question as well, because we often do bid lettings like for projects without a true meeting. So the code does not require that the board would have to meet for the bid letting. We could just do the bid let. The board doesn't have to be during a board meeting or a drainage district meeting. As long as it's scheduled and the board takes action to schedule it, we can do it. Only thing with that is if there are any exception or abnormalities in any bids, the board does have the right to, allow those bids still. So if we did have a board meeting that day and the board was here during the bid letting, we could, have action to, say a contractor didn't have a contractor status form, the board could waive that technicality and allow the bid to be read, upon our recommendation. So.
I have an election that day. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know, and that's why, I asked about what dates worked, and it sounded like it wasn't a huge election this year, but we can certainly be flexible and move things around, a week later or whatever works, so. Those are just my recommended dates. We can just push everything back. We can, at the board meeting every other week, a bid letting, and then having an award 2 weeks later is a little bit longer than we typically see. I'd have to double check the language in terms of how many days the board has to award a contract. We may have to extend that. That was the case, but that was just what I recommended for dates. We can schedule those here and take action today. If we want to move those, that's fine. I just need to update them. So that was just my first recommendation.
So the 7th is, it's not a long process, right?
Just a bid letting, and it's open the bids, read the totals, and then that's, it would depend on how many bids we got. We're talking probably 15, 20 minutes. I had to guess.
Yes, that's doable.
Yeah. So, and again, those are just my dates. We can adjust accordingly.
You can do it, Rochelle.
How many days do you want between the bid letting and the, I know you've got a week.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a week. It could be less. Yeah.
You want to do a meeting on Friday or something and canvass the election and do the bid letting.
You can't canvass the election. It has to be the following Monday. It has to be Tuesday, because people have until Monday to get their.
So that's a good point, actually, Jason. That doesn't have to be a week. I would, if we were to plan to award a contract on a Tuesday, the latest I'd want to have the bid letting is probably the previous Thursday. That gives me a couple days to do some research and get an award letter together. So it wouldn't have to be on a Tuesday. It could be on a Thursday, and then the award could be the following Tuesday during the meeting. But the award does have to be at a meeting. So we'll come back to that. I just wanted to touch on it. So. Moving on to the project work summary. Project has 3 divisions of work. Division 1 is for branch 152 tile. That's the lower portion of that tile to be improved from the outlet of the ditch up to its junction. And then Division 2 will be the branch 152-178 tile improvement. So that's the whole length of that other tile that was approved. And again, that reflects what was approved at hearing last year. So. Then Division 3 is the separate division for the 3 secondary road crossings that we have for the project. So those are the 3 divisions of work. Just running through quickly here some of the items of work. At the outlet, we are putting in a new tile outlet there, pretty large tile outlet. There's an existing structure there and existing tile outlet. Those will be protected. And then we will be installing some riprap on the top of the ditch there just to stabilize everything with that new tile and additional flow coming out. The tile work in specific, so I know this has gone a number of different ways in the past. There's been questions in the past. How we've found the most effective way to bid these projects is the tile maintenance bid is agricultural drain pipe, and then the specifications and the plans allow for the contractor to install either concrete pipe or plastic pipe. Our plans include specific requirements for each product's installation. So difference with plastic pipe, more strict requirements on the installation and backfill and compaction. That's all included in the plans. This really has what's worked best, we found, to get the best bids. With the way the pipe pricing has gone recently, if you were to only allow concrete, you would see, in my opinion, especially with this larger pipe, some pretty significant price jumps from what we've seen in the past. So that's what we have in there. Both types of pipe are covered in the plans, so it's really up to the contractor what they want to install. And typically we'll get that from them, after the bid, as far as what their intended materials are. So I'm going to say 9 out of 10, they're probably going to want to use plastic for most, if not all of it, because that's going to be what's most economical right now and get the best bids. Just running through things here, obviously all the district branches will be connected to the new main, private tile connected as well. We have pretty good tile maps from a lot of this already. We've included an estimated quantity of rock for stabilization if we run into any unstable soils. That payment will only be made where we direct them to install that rock, and that quantity would vary depending on the soils we encounter. There's a couple areas we have some of the existing main that's left in place where a landowner would request it or where it's necessary. Everything else will be crushed and buried, and all that will be connected. We have called out any intakes we have found out there will be replaced, except for in the county road right of way. And then we've got a few intakes installed in a few other locations for purpose of inspection. And then also in there included is an item for topsoil stripping, so stripping within the work limits as well to protect the topsoil. The other thing that I guess I'll just briefly touch on, I didn't mention in here, but I did include a note in there about work in wet conditions. This has become a big talking point recently, especially with the unrelated pipeline projects. Something that I think is not been addressed in the past is work in wet conditions. Contractor strips the topsoil, and that's out of the way, and then they can work in any conditions. So if you've got really wet conditions, some of the research that we've been working with Iowa State on has found that actually causes worse impacts than topsoil impacts if they work in wet conditions and compact the subsoil. So we included a note in the plan just that we have discretion to say, as the engineer on the project, that hey, conditions are too wet out here. You can't be working right now, causing this damage to the land. So that's something that new that we did add in just as a little more of a protection for lands. Then a couple junction structures to be installed there, particularly at the branch 152 and 178 junction. And then as I mentioned, 3 Osceola County secondary road crossings, 210th Street, Wilson Avenue, and 190th Street. I know Ed, you mentioned at the hearing that 200th Street was abandoned. We were able to find, it was April 2003, we found the resolution. So previously, that was shown as still an active road, but we found the abandonment resolution. So that has been taken off as a county road cost, and there's a road there still, but it's private. So that's a district cost now. That's been addressed. Intakes will not be installed in the road right away. I guess we've talked with Keith and Mike on this and included some of their requirements. Do you guys want to add anything? Or?
I think we said pretty much. I mean, it's the cost of tile intakes on our part.
Yep.
That's why we were pointing that out. They're used for inspection purposes, not just for sundraining.
So we do have some specific requirements for work in county road right away, and contractors required to coordinate with Keith and Mike on that when they're doing their road crossings. So that's been included in the contract. Really little to no clearing and grubbing for the project, maybe just a couple trees around the acreage. A few other things with the project, just to mention, obviously we need to coordinate with the landowners. I've already had phone calls and talked with a couple landowners already. One of them actually just called me yesterday, but once we've got bidding and a contract done, we'll want to put together a landowner letter to send to all the landowners, covering some of those details with crop damages and fences and topsoil and all that stuff. So that would be the next step. As we've done in the past, and we've started to do with nearly all the new main installation, we would be recommending televising. There's nothing in the contract that requires that, but the contract does state that the board has the right to do that. So we're not making any decisions on that today, but at a later date, we would be recommending that televising to verify installation. Something else we've done is during active construction, we may consider televising the first, say, 1,000 to 2,000 feet of installation, to see if there's anything we can identify that's been done incorrectly. That way we can correct that before all the rest of the main has been installed. So just something I wanted to mention for the inspection purposes. Last thing there, project costs. I did put together a cost estimate as well. The first three bullets there are the current cost estimate, and then the bottom two bullets are the engineer's report estimated prices for the work. We didn't have, in the report, we didn't have all of the separate options shown for secondary roads, so what we had shown in there was actually all the crossings for the whole project was approved for all of branch 152. So those costs, you'll see they're similar or less than what we had at the hearing. We really ran into a perfect storm with that hearing last fall, and that pipe prices were crazy. We saw huge increases last year, and so we didn't really know where things would land. Since then, things have come back a little bit and seem to have stabilized and are a lot better. So you'll see on branch 152, the cost is about 10% less than what we estimated at the hearing last year. So not a huge reduction, but we're estimating a little cheaper now based on some recent bidding we've seen. Branch 152, 178, you'll see actually pretty significant cost savings from there. Again, so pipe pricing stabilization that we've seen. Additionally, we were able to, that original estimate included some areas where we thought we'd have to install concrete pipe through really deep cut. We were able to kind of engineer our way out of that and shallow it up with through an area, so we didn't need as much concrete pipe, so that was some savings there. So that's what we have as an estimated cost for the different divisions of the project, and I believe the attached has the specific items of work for each, and then the total estimated contract value at the bottom there, $1.5 million. So that's kind of the rundown, I guess, of the project. Like I said, once we set dates today, I'll update those dates, sign the plans, send over some hard copies, and also email out PDFs, and then we'll get going on publishing all the bidding documents as well. So I guess first I'll see, is there any questions on the items of work or the construction or anything like that?
I do have one question here. On our portion for the 42-inch crossing there, I see that we did not deduct the 100-foot that's supposed to go across.
Oh, yep, okay, I'll correct that. Thank you. Yeah, that didn't get
That's the only thing.
Yep, we'll fix that.
And then your ability to, I guess, stop work based on drainage or saturated conditions, how's that played with liquidated damages?
Yeah, so we have a statement in there that if
You're stopping them.
if there's excessive delays due to work condition, that completion date will be reconsidered. Yeah. So yeah, I'll correct that process.
So does that have like working days on?
It does have a completion date, and
When you invoke saturated condition
Yeah,
stoppage,
yeah.
you're going to have to move that date on them.
right, excessively. So it's not meant to be, the way it's worded, it's not meant to be an excessive burden on the contractor. It's just, I've ran into this situation in the past where I wanted a contractor to stop work, and they said, well, show me in the contract where it says I can't work today, and there's ponded water and there are huge ruts in the field, and it's like, I just want something in the contract that states, I can tell you, hey, this makes no sense, the farmer would never be out here today, why are you out here today? So
And you go within a certain number of those stoppages, like snow days.
we didn't do it on working days, just because again, I don't envision this being like we're going to be stopping them often. It's just going to be, and 90% of the time, the contractor's going to have the common sense to say, hey, it rained 3 inches yesterday, we've got ponded water out there, we're going to take a few days. It's not something I envision doing a lot of. It's just like if we need to, we've got a contractor that's trying to go out there when they shouldn't be, so we really have any other extreme conditions that are not working when they should be. But yeah, I'll update that process now. If there aren't any other questions, the only other, I guess the item today would be setting those time, date, and location for the bid letting and contract award. Again, I'm not stuck to the 7th and 14th. We wouldn't want to do it any sooner than that, but we can push it back really whenever the board chooses, whatever works for you all. It's not like we're in a rush right now. I mean, even if we do it the 7th and 14th and award a contract in late November, the chances of any construction happening this year, they're slim to none, so, we can move it back a bit too. It doesn't matter to me, especially as long as we get the same bid yet this year and get a contract awarded this year. That would be my recommendation, so.
Okay, well, that will those work for you, Rochelle?
Yeah, we can make it work, right? I mean, like on the 7th, do you need us for?
So that's up to the board. We don't have to, but the board could meet. I mean, we can just do it, I would say as long as we have this room reserved, or we set a location, and then I would be here, and I'd recommend, at least a representative from the auditor's office is there, with me. Open the bids, read the totals, and then I would just certify the totals and provide a bid tab, and then the following week we would consider them. So the board does not have to meet on the 7th, if you don't want to.
Make that work, or shall I make a motion to keep it on the 7th? Just the way he's got it stated.
So it'll be 10 a.m. on the 7th, and then if it works, I'll just do it here and in the boardroom.
Yeah, we won't need it in the afternoon.
Okay.
Okay, we've got a motion, we have support.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's the way it is.
Okay, and then the only other thing I had is just I guess did the board act on both dates and times there? Because the other thing would be the bid consideration, so.
That was for
Just
both.
however it was stated, that's
Okay,
consider bids on the 14th.
okay. And then 10 a.m. good on the 14th for the consideration?
And we'll make it work.
Yep, okay, perfect. Well, I guess just one last thing I want to touch on, then with this, as we proceed forward. I think y'all remember last summer I was here with Ivan, Kyle was here with me, he works in Sioux Falls, he's a lot closer than I am in Waterloo. I had all the background knowledge in this project, I wanted to make sure and get it to a good point. I'm still going to be very heavily involved, I'll be at bid opening and probably help with pre-construction, but as we get into construction, we have regular, monthly meetings, payouts, things like that. Don't be surprised if you have Kyle coming, and I'll, work with him to make sure. So he's done a lot of drainage projects as well. He has lots of experience, but from an efficiency standpoint, obviously it makes a lot more sense to have somebody in Sioux Falls looking over construction here than somebody in Waterloo. So, and we've got our construction inspection staff will be, either out of Sioux Falls or Storm Lake as well.
So you will have an inspector on site?
Yes, yeah. We'll have an inspector. I can't say for sure where they'll be out of, probably Storm Lake or Sioux Falls, but we'll have an inspector and all that on site. But just from a construction administration standpoint, I guess if we have a meeting and Kyle's here, I'll, be helping him and everything, but he, just from an efficiency standpoint, will be also involved with the project. He couldn't make it today, but he'll be involved in the future, so.
Okay.
I guess we can close JDB 3 if the board doesn't have anything else.
I have nothing.
Motion to adjourn?
Okay, we've got a motion to adjourn. We have support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
So you'll have the stuff to us next week then? Or to have it published on the 25th?
Yeah, I can get you the notice yet this week probably.
Okay,
and I
because
would-
we'll have to have to the paper by the 20th.
Yeah, I'll get you that this week,
Okay.
probably yet, and then I'll also send you some hard copies of the plans and specs, now that we have the dates set and everything, so, yep, we'll get everything over to you.
Is there a charge for the contractors to get the specs out or no?
So they can, you'll have copies that are yours that you'll keep, if they
Okay.
want them, they can get them from us.
Okay.
And then they can also download them from the
Our
website.
website,
So,
okay.
yeah, if you have contractors requesting from you, just send them to me, and I'll get it. I had a couple other items, Sorry, did we close out of JV?
We
Okay.
did, we probably have to enter into a regular session
Oh,
now.
okay.
Make a motion, we open our regular session again.
Okay, we've got a motion, do we have support? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
I had two other items. I'm not sure which is first on the agenda or which one.
The right away.
Okay, so I'm just gonna hand out, this is a code section that I printed off, and then we'll talk about kind of the drainage district right away, work that we've done, for that so far, so. If you remember, we talked about, there's been an effort really over the last year. We've worked with, starting with Sharon, to get the drainage district open ditch right away. Basically better recorded or get better records of it and accounted for. So first step was we identified what the existing open ditch right away was. Sharon got that into her system, updated the tax rolls accordingly to account for that right away. That's been taken. Were specific to drainage districts. Then the last thing, back in July, you had authorized us to proceed with, we made plats of that right away. So we had record of it. That's all been completed and been filed. So all the drainage districts have records of that right away on file now. And that's just the existing open ditch right away. The last thing that I know Ivan had talked with you about ways back when we first talked about this is now that the property taxes have been updated and the drainage district right away has been recorded, there is a section in the code that allows for adjusting drainage assessments, so the actual drainage district assessments to account for that right away. That is under that 46849. So I'll just read it here quickly. Classification for land for drainage, erosion, or flood control purposes, when adopted, shall remain the basis for all future assessments for the purpose of the district, unless revised by the board in the manner provided for reclassification. So that's our typical drainage reclassification. However, where land included in said classification has been destroyed in whole or in part by the erosion of a river, or where additional right-of-way has been subsequently taken for drainage purposes, the land which has been so eroded and carried away by the action of a river, or which has been taken for additional right-of-way, may be removed by the board from the district as classified without any reclassification, and no assessment shall thereafter be made on the land so removed. Any deficiency in assessment as a result of said action of the board shall be spread over the balance of lands remaining in said district, in the same ratio as was fixed on the classification of lands. So essentially what the code section says is now that you have record of that right away, you can remove those acres from assessment from those drainage district schedules, and you do not have to go through reclassification for that. So that means we do not have to do a report, hearing, all that stuff. The board can essentially just direct that be done. So it's basically updating the existing assessment schedules on file to reflect the updated right-of-way acres that have been taken. I guess today what I'm telling you is I'm just making the board aware of this. The board can do this. Truthfully, I talked with Chantry a little bit about it. It's not a difficult calculation. If she has the acres in current assessment, you can figure out, from the assessor's website how many acres of drainage right away have been removed, update the assessment accordingly. If the board didn't want to proceed with this, I would be glad to help the auditor's office and how that's done. There's no true timeline on this. If you wanted to get it done, as long as they got it done before property tax assessment next year, really, I guess. So you don't need to hire, us to go through and do a report or anything for it. It's really just an updated assessment. However, if you wanted me to help the auditor's office updating those schedules, be glad to. I believe the way the code's written, it doesn't say that the board has to do this. It's just that the board may do this. So I wanted to make it, I guess, aware this was kind of the last step in the process of getting the drainage district right away updated and recorded. So I guess I'll open it up for questions or discussion, but primarily just wanted to make you aware of that. So.
anybody got anything?
Set a date.
I do too.
What I could do is I could talk with Chantry and just kind of talk to the auditor's office through how to do these calculations, and then if you wanted, I'd be glad to just provide, it wouldn't be a lot of time, but pretty minimal review of whatever, their updates, and just take a look at it and say if this all makes sense. And then I think what would be best is they go through and do all these updates, then we would take it to the board and say, okay, these are the updates that were made, reflected right away, and then the board would just take action to, so there's record that the board, approved those updates to the schedule, as, the board is allowed to under 46849, so.
Okay. Anything else?
Not on this specific item, I guess, so. I don't know if there's any action needed today, I guess, other than maybe just, if you wanna, if the board's supportive of it, I can work with the auditor's office to.
That's reflected with auditor's office, we work with.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that a motion?
I can make it a motion if you want.
Do we need a motion for
Have
that?
the auditor's office proceed with adjusting the right of ways and assessment schedules according to 468.49.
Okay, we've got a motion. Do we have support?
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now to the wetland.
Yes, okay. Last thing I have for you here today, I'll just pass out. I've got a memo, and then a couple maps, for a potential project, just a conceptual at this point. I want to talk about it with the board and get your thoughts on it. So I will pass sets of these out to everyone. Yep, sorry, there's 3 sheets total, so I'm. And I've got, extras if anybody, so. Over there. Yep, you got it. Yep.
Cost.
Yeah, so, for this, this would be more than likely fully funded, by, the first kind of typical option is, Iowa Department of Ag. They talked with, the gentleman I have the memo address to, talked with them there. They would have interest in the project. There's also other funding opportunities out there too. There's a lot of interest in water quality in Iowa now, and truthfully, if we ever have a feasible site, there's, kind of a suite of different funding options.
What about pumps, maintenance?
Yeah.
Who takes care of that?
Yeah, so I think that's up for discussion, how exactly that would all play out. I guess what I'll just kind of state here, going into this, you can tell obviously from the maps and the memo there, this is a county-owned, I'll call it a little corner piece parcel. It's in yellow on the larger map, right along Drainage District 64, just west of Paris there. That was the one we just cleaned out. You can see from the photo on the memo there that, to my knowledge, I guess, anyway, that parcel, there's not really been much of anything done with it. It has caused, there's a fair amount of saplings growing up, and there's been a lot of beaver activity along DD 64 there. That was kind of how we first identified it during the ditch clean out, as we saw a lot of holes dug in the ditch bank from beavers and and beaver dams and things like that. So, I talking with IDOLs, they've run into similar situations in different counties where a county has some land that's become a maintenance issue, and they've looked at, can they do some sort of a wetland there, and do something a little different with the land. So this was just an idea. We had put this conceptual together for the board's consideration. Essentially what it is taking the land as is, constructing a wetland in it. Just because of the hydrology and elevations, it would be what's called a pumped wetland. This is something that the Department of Ag has been supportive of and has been doing a number of these types of sites where they would essentially have an agricultural lift station that would pump water out of a drainage ditch into the wetland. The shallow pool in the wetland would allow for denitrification, so you get the water quality benefit from removing the nitrate, and then that water just outlets right back into the open ditch at the downstream end of the pond. So that's a pretty simple design and site. I just put this conceptual together to give an idea. Really the pros for it, I guess, or it's kind of an unused parcel right now that I guess from the little bit of research I did, the ownership was just shown at Osceola County. From the little bit of research we did, we didn't find anything related to the Conservation Board that there was anything there. I know there's that trail that goes right near it there, that adjacent to it. So it's something that, it's completely up to the board if there's any interest in it. I just wanted to bring it forward as a kind of a neat idea for water quality. The benefit to the drainage district is really it's a better use of that land. We're not going to have all the overgrowth that was affecting the ditch before, trees. It does provide just a little bit of drainage relief. Not going to be huge, but there is some storage there with the construction of the wetland as well. One thing I know you had asked about, Jason, was mitigation. I did look into that. It's a really good idea to have wetland mitigation banking, but from the research I did, it's a small pool. It's really the juice is not worth the squeeze for something this size. If you had something a lot bigger, that's maybe something you could look into, but with a site this size, there's not a lot of mitigation. So how it would look, as I mentioned to Jerry, there's different funding options. If it was to be done with IDOLs, Iowa Department of Ag, they would get a conservation easement on the land, and then they would handle, I got verbal approval from them that it would be a project they would support in full, so they would support, engineering and design and construction costs. Maintenance is always the question. There's often in counties with these wetlands, the conservation easement is held by the local soil and water conservation district. So I think that would have to be a further discussion on the maintenance issue, question of that. The site itself, like I said, really only lends itself to being a pumped wetland. Pumped wetland requires power. We're kind of out in the middle of the field here. Something I had mentioned that'd be a potential that they've done before is you could do solar. You could have solar panels that would provide the power to pump the water into the wetland. So it's something that verbally, IDOLS has told me that they were definitely interested in, and they would be interested in funding. But again, it's the county's land. It's the board's. Really up to the board if they have any interest in the project or not. So I just threw this conceptual together, put it out there, and if the board has any interest, I'd certainly be glad to follow up with it and see if there's something we can do.
What do you guys think?
I think it'd be good to proceed with, but I'd like to see what IDOLS puts as stipulations as far as their funding, if there's required maintenance or.
Sure.
Ultimately, if the pump goes out and we don't want to bear the cost,
Yeah.
what's harmed if it's there and not
Yeah.
working as a wetland? It's gonna somewhat be what it is now, I guess is my thought. So, but I would like to see language that IDOLS would have.
Yep, no, I'm sure they can. Like I said, Pocahontas County, I know they're doing a site right now very similar to this. County land adjacent to a drainage ditch that they're just pumping water out of the drainage ditch into the pond, so, or making a pool of it. So.
As Conservation Board, my understanding is if we provide public access to county-owned land, then conservation has to be involved. If we've not made this publicly accessible, it would just be county-owned land, but I'm not an expert, that would just be my understanding of it.
Any other thoughts? I don't know, do you want to see him go forward or not?
And yeah, I don't need any action today, I guess, but, you know, if the board's not interested, it's not something I'll follow up on further, but if you are, I can get some more information, you know, maybe talk with Idolls on what maybe a project would look like, what it would take to get it done, and then we could explore this further, but just wanted to get your thoughts first before I do anything.
Sounds good. We'll look at it at a later date, I guess.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, the general consensus of the board is there's at least interest in it anyway, though, or?
Sure, as long as, it costs a lot of money to pump water.
Sure, yep.
That's the only thing. It's a good idea, but who's gonna pay for pumping the water?
Yeah.
Because it will be costly.
Yep, I can get some of that information for sure.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, that's everything I have for today. Appreciate your time, and this will see you on the 14th November, so.
Okay, sounds good, thanks.
Yep.
I may not be here on the 14th, I'm not sure yet. I'm gonna be grandpa again on the 15th, so I may be in the cities.
Congratulations. Oh, you were gonna say you were doing like a trip to the South Caribbean.
No. That's the end of November.
Yeah. Well, congratulations.
Thank you. I finally get a grandson.
Awesome. Excited.
You want to adjourn?
What?
You want to adjourn? the training meeting?
We did the drainage already.
Yeah, we adjourned from that, just back to normal meeting.
Okay. I was,
Somebody was busy.
yes, trying to beat you down there.
Thanks, Spencer.
Yep, thank you guys, appreciate it.
Okay,
Did you enjoy the drainage?
now are we down to
To the resolution number 9.
number
What I
9?
have.
Okay, we're down to resolution number 9. Approve resolution number 9, 2324, operating transfer from CFE project fund to CFE TIF and P&I fund. This is just normal yearly paperwork.
Yeah,
I
we
make a
got,
motion for resolution 9.
Support.
Okay, Jerry,
Aye.
Ed,
Aye.
Leroy,
Aye.
I vote aye. Okay, consider award bids for ceiling courthouse floors.
I received 2 bids to seal the floors. They haven't been done for a while and it needs to get done.
Are these all the floors downstairs,
Yes,
upstairs?
yep.
Old apple to apple.
Yes, they are, except for deep cleaning did an option 2 that dereader did not, is that you could strip all of them and then apply 4 coats on. That was option 2, but option 1 is, it's the same.
What is your recommendation? Should we strip them down or shouldn't we, or?
I don't know. They haven't been done for a while. I think, option 1 will be just as good as option 2. Maybe we did option 1 and hopefully that will seal our problems that we have,
A few years ago.
sometimes. Yeah,
Okay.
Doesn't this one have the lowest bid?
Yeah.
yes, dereader does.
Yeah.
It's the lowest bid. And they'll do it on like a weekend, come in on Friday night and do it for the weekend. And
I make a motion to go with the rider, the rooter.
Okay, we've got a motion to go with the Rooter cleaning and floor care. Do we have support?
Support.
Okay, we've got a motion, we've got a support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, discuss courthouse stained glass window.
Okay, so the stained glass window there has a lot of cracks in it, and it's kind of bowing in a little bit. I talked to Keelan Henricks. He used to do that for a living, do windows. He says, you know, this lady that we got this, what she would come do, she would just come in and just put a clear sealant on it. It won't fix the problem, but it will fix it temporarily. You know, he said to do it right, you should take the whole window out and replace all there. But, you know, we're talking thousands of dollars. Like about, he thought maybe 20 or not more.
20?
And that's what he got.
That round window in our church, that was like over 20.
Yeah. He said that it helps that it has a cover on it, so the outside elements are, you know, you'll have to go look at it. There's some of them have already been replaced, some of the glass, because they're not matching. I mean, you really got to look at it to see it, but there's a lot of cracks in there. I showed Mike that the other day, and there's a lot of cracks in it.
You just pull it out, frame it, and hang it somewhere else in the corner.
We didn't know what to do. You know, Reggie just mentioned it, and I would bring it to the board to see what they would like to do.
How much time does this buy us?
He didn't know. It's just hard to say. It's a temporary fix. You know, you said you could get 4 or 5 years, you could get longer. It's just hard to know. You know, and sometimes I think people come down from court upset, and hopefully they never pound on that window because they can. I'm not sure. Yeah, that's right.
There
That's
we
very
go.
true.
It will, because ours was blown out and the insurance covered it.
Something's decided today, or?
No, I'm just bringing it up to the board.
That's who we had.
Okay. I mean, she didn't give me a quote or anything. She would just come, so I have no idea what it would cost. She hasn't even looked at it. Reggie kind of told her what the problem was, and she said what she would do. But, you know, she charges from the minute she leaves Emmitsburg to come here, so plus mileage. So, you know, I would think it's gonna take more than one day, because there's a lot of cracks in there that we can see eye level. You know, once she gets way up there, I have no idea.
You got that Bogan Reef out of Sutherland too that does stained glass.
Oh, okay. We never contacted. We didn't know about
The
that
other
one.
one's over in Hinton.
Okay.
But I know there's one too that does it,
Okay.
because they did our church.
Okay. I just wanted to let the board know what was going on. We don't have to do anything at this time, but pass. You said that who was in Sutherland, did you say?
Yeah, Sutherland.
Do you know the name of it,
I
or?
think it's Bogan Reef Studios. There's another branch or offshoot of that in Hinton that repairs like church windows and stuff like
Well,
that.
Sutherland would be way closer than
Yeah,
Emmitsburg. It's 8, you know.
you can ask them and see, but they do a lot of that.
Okay. I just wanted to bring it to your attention.
Okay. Any more about the window? Discuss county's wellness program. Possible fee for non-participation.
I know each year Chantry does a fantastic job of keeping people aware and trying to get participation so that the county can receive maximum discounts. And we've had a history of that, and every year we get nervous that we won't this year, and then it seems to work out, so I'm hoping that's the case this year. But I think it'd be good to consider that there's a financial impact to an employee that won't participate. I think it's for their health interest that they do it. That's what
You're talking
history
just the
has shown.
physical?
Yeah, well, the ones that are required to attain the discount for the county. And we have to work with Jack to get that written up the proper way or the correct way, but I don't think it's reasonable for people to not participate in something that can save taxpayers money, that yeah. So I guess my thought, just one, we can have a number of them, I don't care, but any year that they don't participate in the portions of the wellness program that help attain a discount, that the following year they would pay 10% of the individual and or family premiums that they participate in. they participated that year, then the following year it would go back to the traditional coverage by the county.
What do you guys think?
I don't know,
Is there,
I don't know if you can make them participate.
well, is there any discussion from the committee? 'Cause I think you guys are on the committee, aren't you?
Yeah, so are we just talking about the union? Or, no? Because, yeah, the union says we shall participate, which I'm on 100%, I'm on board with that. I think that's a great idea to save the county $50,000 or whatever the premium savings would be. How do you get the rest of the county to participate if it's voluntary? And I'm on board with Jason. I think there should be something like that. I don't know. If they don't want to participate, that's fine, but if you're going to probably pay the next, I don't know, some portion of that, make up that $50,000 that we could have saved.
I don't think it's that hard to physical, little assessment, that is a big deal, but, something about radio doctor, deals, but big things, yeah.
Wouldn't it have to be in their job description though for when they were hired, that that was a mandatory requirement? I don't know that you can go back after the fact. You could probably do it with new hires, but I don't know that you can do it with current.
It would need to be maybe an overall policy requirement.
It's a policy for the entire county to do that.
There had to be a change in the handbook, I would think,
Change the-
and everybody would have to sign off on it, you know, that they got it. That would be a Jack question, but,
Change what policies are offered, so, yeah, I think there's certainly ways to attain adjustments to the policy.
So you'd have like a two-tiered thing, where if you participate, the cost is X, if you don't participate, the cost is Y.
It's an idea. I'm open to ideas. And really, it's driven by wanting to receive that discount that insurance provides if a certain number participate. But I think it'd be better to keep it at just either you do or you don't, and this applies. And that's a way to incentivize us getting to that discount level.
Because it is a lot of money that we
there's
save.
a lot of savings. And it's not that hard, like you said, it's not that hard, you make it pretty simple, it's just a physical and that assessment, you don't, any other additionals you don't have to do because that's not part of our points, so it's just those two things that get us our 5% discount. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it changes every year.
Just the assessment, physical, next year, the assessment.
Yeah,
plus-
you're right.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
but.
What's the
If you
current?
word it, you have to word it, you know, just because.
Yeah, it's tied to what,
What the ISAC
Wellmark uses or ISAC uses to obtain discount levels.
What's the current participation in that?
We're very,
Provided, sheriff's office was fairly low when Chantry provided the numbers, but it's good
And I
to
don't
have
know
a
those
report that.
numbers. I know she got those numbers, she has access to who did or didn't participate, but I don't know how active those were because it was within, I don't know, 2 hours, we had a track down where we were at over half.
well, I think September is like the end of August, so she probably won't get September's until,
Sure. So
Sometime in the middle of
somebody got some
October.
stuff turned in.
So by October 20, when he says, well, it'll be
Right.
reported, we may not know
Right.
that till mid, late November, but.
really,
Because we've only got 2 that still in physicals and they'll be, they're scheduled beforehand and they'll be turned in. We'll have our stuff covered over there. But it'd be interesting to know, not just the 17 or 18 people in the sheriff's office, but how about the 40 or how many work in the secondary roads or the other departments? Who else isn't participating? Because I don't think that we're the last 30% that aren't
No.
recorded.
And
No,
there's
not
two
at
in
all.
my office, we just check our portals and they aren't updated.
You know, Chantry was gonna send out an email, she could do those carbon copy deals where nobody knows who else is included in the emails. And just say, if your portal says you got 5 out of 5 or you get the requirements done, but I'm sending you this email because you're on that list that it isn't completed, or it's not being shown that it's completed, so just double check. Or she can call ISAC or whoever, and then they can figure out, say, hey, this person's reflecting on the portal that's on there, are they good? And then just hasn't been registered on their end or whatever, so I said that'd be a great idea, because just not to point them out in front of somebody else, but just say, all these people, we don't know who the blind carbon copy email is, what people believe. And then just a reminder, so if you have it done, make sure that you call or if you're going to leave up to your provider to fax your form in, and they didn't, make sure you call them and get that copy back, and fax it. Or if you need help, stop up anywhere. Something that's a computer, smartphone, know how to get into the website, because we might be closer than what 50% showing. And I hope we are, but I don't know why it has to come down in the last 12 days of the program.
Yeah.
It always does.
But even if it is attained this year, I don't think it's a bad thing to modify just in some way to know that at the end of October, if we don't attain it, well, those that didn't participate are going to contribute towards what we didn't achieve as a discount. And I guess to me, the stress or worry for the ones monitoring it or minimize, because we've taken a step to address
We
that.
did discuss earlier that, maybe for the people that get it done by May 1st or a certain date, it starts January 1st, so if you get it finished by such and such a date, maybe it costs them a half for a card or something like that. Some incentive to get it done sooner than October 20th.
It's really kind of simple, because I always had mine done in March, and I just make the appointment for next year.
Yeah.
So it's-
Good. And I've had, when I went to get mine too, they had, you got yours in May, you can't have yours until June. I'm like, so you just gotta explain it, because it's somebody new on the phone every time, So, yours starts in January, just sign me up, don't worry about it, you'll get paid. They're not, that's not even what they're worried about, they just know that, it has to be a year later.
And I've never had them say that.
Yeah.
Well, some insurance companies require it to be 1 year out. Ours is one per calendar year, so every insurance is different, so they just should make you known of it.
Yeah, I don't know if there's something that we can hold the ones that don't participate accountable. I think that'd be fantastic.
Why don't we talk to Jack and see what we can and what we can't do?
Yeah.
Another idea or another way that you guys would want considered, or that's just throwing something out there, it doesn't.
You want to visit with Jack and see what we can and can't do?
Work with them to see some language that we can consider.
Okay. Thanks. Okay, let's see, we're discuss dismissal of claimant to Iowa Public Information Board.
Well, I figured since we had it on there, when the complaint was filed, we should probably have it on there since the complaint was dismissed, that the
Okay.
county board didn't violate open meetings. That's all I had on that.
Okay.
It does say, while it would be better for board members to refrain from relaying information related to duties as a liaison of the board outside of open meetings, there does not appear to have been a violation.
Also requires that the complaint be within the IPIB's jurisdiction, appear legally sufficient, have merit before the IPIB accepts a complaint. Following review of the allegations on their face, it is found that this complaint does not meet those requirements.
Do we need a motion to do that? Okay. Okay, review quarterly reports.
That's me, I didn't make copies of it, I just thought I would hand them out. There's mine. There's David's office.
Geez, you guys were that close in numbers?
I mean, look.
17,158, 17,136.
Passwords have really gone up people are traveling. Hopefully the government don't shut down and then.
They'd never do that, would they?
Very much so. It's really a sad situation over there.
I think that's about the closest I've ever seen. Normally, it's a pretty big spread.
Does that mean we're bringing in too much money?
I've always wondered where that goes, if that goes in their coffee fund or where.
Maybe it goes in the stained glass window
Not
fund.
much, yeah, no doubt.
I think it goes for donuts. For something, there's always a lot of giggling going on when I walk in here.
Is there another window in front of that window?
On the outside, he said that that helps protect it. He said so the outside elements aren't coming in. You'll have to look at it when you guys leave.
Well, the good thing on the, on the north side of that building, it doesn't get a lot of heat. That's the one good thing. Because our church on the south side, boy, that glass looks ridiculous.
Because even if you took it out and had to replace that window, my guess is it's gonna be unbelievably expensive anyway.
Yeah.
Even if you put a clear window back into that.
Yeah, clear probably be cheaper than stained glass, but
But if you already got the glass pieces, all you gotta do is put them back together.
yeah, he said, I mean, Elon said the right way is to but he said that's thousands and thousands of dollars. So I appreciated him coming in to look at that for me, or with me.
Okay, we're down to claims, and I have one more comment before we're done. That building that's going up at the ambulance shed, there's no furnace in the specs. So we gotta get a furnace to put in there on the sheriff's side.
Really?
It's not in the specs.
Maybe we were thinking cold storage.
Yeah, evidently.
Ernie was gonna do something else that he was gonna take care of himself. He wanted to-
But we should get
I don't want cold storage if you got a utility thing.
yeah.
Ernie planned to put a furnace, but you're gonna do it outside of the
Yeah.
buildings.
But we better,
Plan to
So,
reuse the furnace.
Do we have to get bids then for a furnace?
I don't wanna say we could just buy a furnace, can't we?
Are you buying, I mean, are you, yeah, I guess a furnace, or are you just buying a heater for that install, or
hanger.
what are you?
Heater hanger.
You want those hanging heaters?
Yeah. I wouldn't think we'd have to get bids for that.
They're horrible, are
fairly
they?
cheap.
Yeah, they're not that expensive.
I think they'd be under $1,000, wouldn't they?
No.
They'd be more than
It'd be
that?
3,000-4,000.
Really?
You got the install.
I guess we had one in ours and it didn't cost us that much, but ours is a smaller structure.
But the gas, everything is in there now, so.
It's looking nice.
It does, yeah. But should we go ahead and get bids or just talk to Stanton's and get a number, I'm guessing?
Call it a solution, I don't know.
Yeah.
See what they got.
Because I don't know how big a one it'd have to be in. That's a pretty good sized room.
Oh,
Yeah. Should I come over to call Stanton's? Okay. Oh, and we might end up calling a special meeting for Friday morning. Because Michelle Ebony,
Environmental health.
Yeah. she might have some questions for us. Is it Michelle Abity? Took Steve Van Clyde's place.
Yeah.
There's a spot in Ellendorf that she's got questions. And she's gonna need our input, I think.
Stephen Clyde, before he left, talked about
I know.
unseward communities grant, and this is the only one that's been approved in the county, but there's a potential property question that may need, or is being looked into and may need to be dealt with.
And she's gonna need some guidance. but she'll know for sure after today. Okay,
It'll be raining Friday.
I know what it's gonna, I know what it's about, I'd almost rather not be involved.
well, if there's a conflict of interest, you shouldn't be, then you shouldn't be. But no, so don't be surprised if you get something for Friday morning. We're down to the claims.
$558 is Roslyn Water Service.
Okay,
I'll make a motion for that one.
okay. We've got a motion, we've got support, all in favor? Opposed? Abstained? But you thought I was gonna forget, didn't you?
Make a motion to address the claims.
We've got a motion on the claims, do we have support? All in favor? Opposed? Whose are these?
I have a question on the courthouse. I had noticed it the other night, and I've had complaints on it about mildew in the basement at the courthouse. You know, we bought dehumidifiers trying to help it. I know these new windows, it just got
Sealed up too tight.
sealed up or something in the, clerk's office, but that's a new office, so all their holes that they had have all been sealed. What do I do, or where do we go, or what can we do for that? I don't know.
What was the thing you did at the sheriff's office?
Yeah, that dryo
basement.
thing.
Yeah, I don't know if that.
Did that cure that over there?
It did, yep.
Maybe humidifier.
Yep. At the time, when they did the basement, they checked the courthouse and we were fine. We didn't need it, but now, right, but now they've got the windows. I didn't know if the board wanted me to get a quote on that or what you want me to do
Probably should.
on that.
I would think you should probably have a quote.
I can give them a call and see what it would cost.
Have we had any condensation building up on the windows yet, or
No, I haven't noticed that at all. It's mainly downstairs where I get the complaint.
it smells like an old musty basement?
Yeah, it does.
And it didn't before.
No, it did not. I mean, we bought a couple dehumidifiers, trying that would help.
Time to open a few windows and see for the winter.
I know. And then also, we have it in the budget, does the board want to go ahead and get bids for painting, like the upstairs and fixing the judges' chambers, or downstairs, or you wanna wait, or what do you wanna do? Cause I think the judges' chambers up there are gonna need repairs on.
Yeah, that ceiling is getting,
I already got calls from the guys that did it last year that they're open in January. I'm not fishing.
Are you going ice fishing?
Well, yeah, I think a contract has to be signed. I haven't done anything with that yet. I didn't know what the board's wishes were. So.
Proceed with it. Cleared away the
pretty darn good.
make lactation space or breastfeeding space like ISAC had sent out. These are the courts were kind of pushing that, but
Well, it depends how much we have to spend on a dehumidifier into the cooling and heating system of that courthouse.
Yeah, I didn't even know that's possible. I haven't talked to Santa
Because we
yet.
have boiler heat, not forced air heat. I don't know how that would work.
This is above my pay grade, so that's why I'm asking you guys what to do there.
I don't think it's a money.
Yes, I do. I'm not very good at that kind of stuff. I'm such a visual person.
Back to the Friday deal, Keith, you might want to get a plat of the city of Elmendorf. I think some of it concerns alleys, what the county owns.
Michelle talked with me about this, it's about an impossible thing.
Yeah. So,
Anything else that's good for the,
Just share that my wife tried to put a t-shirt on today, but I saw Care Connections and said it's World Mental Health Day on October 10th. About a year ago, the school, the hospital, and Care Connections that had more focused on suicide awareness and the 9AA hotline, but it's like, throw that on. Make note of that.
And I'll just, like I said, I'll send a reminder out for if anybody who wants a flu shot next week, Wednesday at 7. Starts at 7:30 in the morning, so.
hey, this isn't good enough for you? I don't know, I'm just.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll support that.
Okay, all in favor? Opposed?
Don't have anything for me, do you?
I don't think so. You got your phone done, right?
Okay. No, they didn't get that fixed either.
Oh, they didn't? Oh, shoot. How come?
Something about, I don't have Google or something.
Oh. Yay.
How you feeling?
What's that?
How you feeling?
Good.
Good.
No Google.